Students get confused about symbolism and imagery more than you'd think. So what's the difference between the two? Let's start with symbolism. A symbol is just something that represents something else. I'm going to show a symbol on the screen and I want you to think about what it might represent. I'll wait about 3 seconds and then tell you what the symbol usually represents. A dove represents peace. A rose represents love. This symbol represents recycling. The crescent moon and star is a religious symbol for Islam. The ampersand represents the word and. Skull and crossbones represents danger. A lion represents bravery. An egg represents new life. The cross, in this case, can represent health and healing. When it is red, usually it represents a hospital, and when it is green, it represents a pharmacy. If you want to represent something in your writing without giving away too much, you can use a symbol to refer to it indirectly. I'm going to show you some examples now. I'm going to write my intention on one side of a table, and then I will write a sentence containing a symbol in the other side. So on the first side, my intentions are: he loved her. She is Muslim. The cave was dangerous. And the shop sold medicine. For he loved her, I might say, he snuck into the classroom and placed a single red rose on the desk where she usually sat. For she is Muslim, I could write, she wore a beautiful bracelet, a band which held a crescent moon and a star. For the cave was dangerous, I could write, before the mouth of the cave leaned a sign with a crudely painted skull and crossbones on it. And for the shop sold medicine, I could write, I coughed and spluttered under the neon green glow of the cross, waiting for the customers inside to hurry up. Often symbols are repeated throughout a text in different ways to emphasise the meaning of the theme or an idea. It then becomes a motif, a pattern of representation. Symbolism and motifs are important because they make your reader think more deeply about your theme and ideas. You are more likely to help your reader understand these things if you give them more options and more ways to understand it. Moving on to imagery. The word imagery is associated with mental pictures. You might presume that writers use imagery to make vivid pictures appear in the reader's mind. This is only partly true. Imagery uses figurative language to appeal to the 5 bodily senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. We as human beings understand the world through these senses. Some people might respond to sight more than sound or smell more than taste, but either way, it is important to provide your reader with a banquet of ways to understand and enjoy the text. When writers use plenty of imagery, especially in novels, readers find it a little bit easier to keep reading and feel as though they're watching a film rather than concentrating really hard on reading black marks on white paper, for example. Appealing to the 5 senses actually gives you, the writer, more options when it comes to writing figurative language features such as similes, metaphors, personifications, etc. Next time you're stuck when writing a language feature like this, think, how could I appeal to other senses? So I'm going to do a quick example of exploring senses in imagery with similes being my feature of choice. The main point I want to make is that the boy is scared. Now I'm going to go through each of the senses and write a simile which appeals to that sense and also gets my point across that the boy was scared. For sight, his face was pale and still like a statue. Sound, he shrieked like a startled bird. Taste, he felt like he was trying to swallow a dry sponge. Touch, the back of his neck prickled like he was being prodded by 100 tiny needles. And finally, smell, he recoiled as the stench of death as thick as tar engulfed his head. So for the assignment, I would like you to, first for symbolism, I would like you to think of 5 symbols that we recognise that are universally accepted, and I'd like you to try and make a point by using those symbols. It can just be 1 or 2 sentences, but you can write the sentence with the symbol in it, as I have, and then you can include the point you're trying to make, like I have with the, you know, the boy left the rose on the table, but the main point is that he loves her. I don't actually say that in the sentence at all. I use the symbol. So I'd like you to use 5 symbols to make a point each and include what your original point was in that document. And for imagery, I would like you to choose 1 language feature from similes, metaphor, and personification. And I would like you to write a statement or a piece of description, including that language feature, and make it work for all 5 senses, just like I have done in mine. Obviously, my main point was the boy was scared. I'd like you to include what your main point is as well. The instructions will be detailed below this video as well if you're a bit confused as to what you've got to do. But basically I just want you to do exactly what I have done, but with your own examples. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.